Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCall, and I'm here today at RIA taking a look at a Hopkins Allen XL-6, but this is a kind of unusual one. Now, the XL series was a whole range of guns made by Hopkins Allen. They were kind of their better quality guns. Hopkins Allen as a company they were willing to cater to any part of the market, and they got best known for making pretty poor quality guns, the suicide specials. But that's not exclusively what they were capable of. They did also manufacture very high quality guns. They manufactured guns for Merwin and Hulbert, arguably the best made revolvers of the entire American West. They also manufactured rifles for the Evans Company, the really cool helical magazine Evans lever action. That was actually manufactured by Hopkins Allen. And then they did a whole bunch of other brands that were sold by various retailers with or without any direct attribution to Hopkins Allen. And so one of the brand names that they developed was the XL, probably intending to be a clever play on the word Excel. But they had this from the number 1 all the way up to the number 8, basically in various calibers. So the number 1 was a 22 caliber rimfire, the number 2 was a 30 caliber rimfire, and they had 32s, 38s, 41s. Ultimately, the XL number 8 was kind of a different thing, and I have a separate video on the XL number 8 if you're interested in that. But the XL number 6 was 41 caliber rimfire. It was a 5-shot spur-hammer revolver, although it's also worth pointing out that by the 1880s, they stopped making these spur-hammer versions and they went to a trigger guard version. They would have double action versions and they kept the XL name. So there's a lot of confusion about exactly what's what. What makes this one interesting, though, is it has this very cool swing-out cylinder feature. So enough of you sitting back there looking at 3 pixels worth of gun. Let's take a closer look at it. Now, this particular example is engraved and was originally gold washed. This is very much the high-end, super fancy version of the XL number 6. Not all of them were like this. In fact, very few of them were like this. This is kind of a special thing, artistically as well as mechanically. Now, to put this in context, here is an XL number 7, which is basically the same sort of gun. This is also in 41. They're both rimfire. These were black powder cartridges, 5-shot. However, this one has a much simpler, more traditional system. So the way most of these XL guns work is you have a little spring catch here. This is something that Hopkins Allen patented in 1871, and you push the lever down, pull the access pin out, and then you can drop the cylinder out of the gun. And that's kind of like all there is to it. With this one, however, you get a little bit of a surprise if you're not expecting it. Push the latch, pull the loading lever out, and then, kerpoink, the cylinder pops out to the side. It's actually spring-loaded, so it's just the cylinder access pin holding it in place. And from here, it is very quick to load. You can use the access pin as an ejector rod to punch out empty cases, lined up there, like so. And then it's nice and easy to load new cartridges in. With the kind of the simplified version, there's a cutout in the recoil shield here that gives you a place where you can load one at a time, but this is faster. Anyway, a little bit of quick background on this. Hopkins Allen initially was formed with 2 Allen brothers, Samuel and Charles. Samuel Allen had previously worked as a gunsmith for the Bacon Manufacturing Company, or the Bacon Arms Company. And Hopkins Allen was formed by buying out basically the bankrupt leftovers of Bacon. However, while he was there, Samuel Hopkins patented basically this swing-out system. Now, Bacon made about 300 guns using this system in the early 1860s. This was patented in 1862, I'm sorry, with an improvement to it in 1864. And Bacon made, like I said, a couple hundred of them. However, they were shut down in that effort by Smith & Wesson for patent infringement because they were using the Rollin White bored-through cylinder without actually getting a license for it. So like many other revolver companies at the time, they tried, they got sued, and they got shut down. So some people might wonder, like, how could you get a patent for a swing-out cylinder if the cartridges themselves were, or if the bored-through element of the cylinder was already patented? Well, the answer is you could hypothetically get a license to use Rollin White's patent, and then you could make a swing-out cylinder gun with bored-through chambers. Or you could use it in some other clever way. The patent for the swing-out system was unrelated to the patent for bored-through chambers. Anyway, because the assets of the Bacon Arms Company were sold to Hopkins Allen, and on top of that, the guy who originally conceived of and was granted the patent was an employee of Hopkins Allen, it's not surprising that they chose to actually make use of this system once they could do so legally when the Rollin White patent expired. It's a little bit interesting why they didn't make more of these. This is a pretty darn rare system with that swing-out cylinder. Like I said, Bacon made a couple hundred. You'd think Hopkins and Allen could have done a bunch of them. They may have decided that this just wasn't too expensive for their line of low-cost revolvers that they had in mind. They may have experimented with it and found that it just didn't sell well for whatever reason. But ultimately, not very many of these were actually made or sold. So they're pretty rare today, especially engraved models like this. A lot of people really don't pay any attention to guns like the XL series because they were considered at the time kind of the cheap, junky guns of the period. Now, that's not necessarily entirely true, but they certainly were not expensive guns. This sort of thing was selling for about $2.50 when it would cost you 4 times that to get a Colt revolver. So, you know, this is the market that Hopkins Allen was deliberately selling to. However, there are some really interesting features in some of these early guns, like that swing-out cylinder. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully perhaps you will give something like this a second glance the next time you run into one, because you never know what interesting features you may find on it. Thanks for watching.